Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video, where today I'm going over another tournament report using Brood Brothers. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video if you found it useful and helpful. And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, an affiliate link at Element Games, an affiliate link at Discord code at Crossfire Games, and a Patreon if you want to give some more support as well. But yeah, for today's video, I'm going over my time at a tournament in London. So it's one of the regular-ish London tournaments. This one had 53 players. Originally was sold out at 60. But this time it was with Brood Brothers. I know I'd said I'd stick to Plague Marines, but there'd been some changes. So going over kill team selection for the tournament, it was going to be 4 rounds. So 4 rounds with, nearly 60 players. I knew there was going to be more than one undefeated person, and tiebreakers were win percentage and total VP. So going at that, I was like, you know what? There's no reliable way I win this, so I'm just going to use this as a way to practice, because I won't basically have a tournament up until end of August for Nova, because basically I was going to go to the UKTC in June, but tickets were removed before I could buy one, so I couldn't go there. And I'm basically too busy during the rest of June, July, and most of August, so I don't have any actually more kill team tournaments. So I thought, while I'm enjoying Plague Marines, I want to try a kill team I've always wanted to play in the new edition, but never go around to. And that was actually Brood Brothers. So the reason I actually didn't pick up Brood Brothers after Legionary was because of Blood and Zeal. I was after Hand of the Archon, I was like, Hand of the Archon are okay, but I would actually prefer to play Brood Brothers, partly to see why they're doing so well, like they're having the success in Spain, but mainly only Spain, and I was wondering why. But then the Blood and Zeal teams released, and I was like, look, Sanctifiers and Goremongers are just horrible for this team. But at this point, by the time I'm playing my tournament at the end of August, there's going to be a new balanced data slate, and those teams will likely change. So I might as well use this tournament as a way to practice the team and see if I actually like them, instead of switching to them too late and not getting enough practice in them. Because at least in this time frame where I'm not playing in tournaments, I can still use them to practice. Now, they are a horde team with 12 operatives, and they have security and infiltration. But I actually haven't played a horde team properly in this entire edition. So I was like, mostly I've been playing elites, so I'll see how this goes. The interesting thing about Brood Brothers, they have a lot of mobility because they have pervasive. So they can ignore the first 2 inches of a climb. So when they're using a ladder to climb something, they can technically climb something for free, which is really nice. And also they have a lot of power with ruthless coordination, where they can basically, kind of like Kyrotech, shoot through another friendly model. So you can have someone get within 2, and then as long as you're visible to the target, you can just shoot through them and basically negate obscuring and them hiding, which is very powerful. You also have a powerful operative like the Magus. So, it has a way to basically technically shoot valid targets with its psychic power and give anyone visible -1 APL, which is very powerful. But they're also 12 activations, generally 13 operatives. I actually fully painted this kill team when they came out on launch, because I painted up for review, and I haven't really used them since because they were too broken at the end of last edition, and this edition they've just been okay. So I wanted to test that out. And so, yeah, this is my experience with Brood Brothers. So starting off in round 1, it was secure against Night Nemesis Claw, so Night Lords. This was a really interesting matchup because it was my first game with the team because I had no practice. So it was just like, written practice, like researching the team. So going up first, I had Covert Geysers, and I managed to get 2 operatives. So I moved up my Knife Fighter and the Grenadier. So this matchup, I took the Magus, 2 Familiars, the Knife Fighter, Grenadier, the Plasma, Melter, Grenade Launcher, and then the Comms and Medic and Icon. Oh no, I didn't take the Medic this time. And I was just like, okay, the reason I took the Knife Fighter, I was like, oh, it gives me room to move up, just in case he doesn't go full ranged. And then, yeah, so I just kind of fake moved up. So a lot of my guys moved up on the left-hand side because I had taken Take Ground. And I was like, well, I have 12 activations. So basically I can always get secure the stronghold last. So my opponent had 2 of his operatives on the right, his leader and his poison guy moved up there. And then more of his guys swing to the left. So to end of turning point 1, I'd managed to stun his Screamer. So his Screamer, now, because I put the razor wire in the middle, no one could basically charge around. and his screamer couldn't fit around the other side. I had actually put a familiar on the other side, so I was like, you could charge the familiar, and then that's all you could do, and then my entire kill team will basically mess you up. And basically, by turning point 2, because I was pointing out, look, if you do move up here to stay safe, the problem you have is I can move up someone within 2 and then Ruthless Coordination you, or I can spend a CP to dash after your activation, as long as I stay in cover, and I had a Melter on free APL. So then he kind of realized, like, oh, no matter where I move up, I'm going to get hit, right? And I can only basically kill one Brood Brother at best. And I was like, yes. So he did the safe thing of just staying put behind that stronghold, but then I was just like, that's what I wanted you to do. There was like, unfortunately, there was no safe way for him to move up. And then basically at the end of turning point 2, my Melter repositioned and dashed and then killed his melee guy, the skin thief. And I had my 2 familiars secure the left building and the center building, well, and the center objective. And because I had one guy inside the building, he had no one in the stronghold. I got 2 VP on that. Then turning point 3, I won initiative, shot his icon down to 2 wounds with the Melter. And then it was just kind of like managed to go from kill after kill, because the problem is he was now being able to get return kills, and he actually managed to move up and kill like my grenade launcher on the right hand side, as well as my Melter and Sapper. But by that point I had killed 4 of his operatives, and at the end of turning point 3 I'd managed to kill everyone apart from his plasma gun and leader. And then turning point 4, he won initiative, but because I'd made his leader 2 APL, his leader actually couldn't do anything, and his plasma wasn't really much of a threat either. And because I was just able to threat overwhelm, because by then I'd only lost, I think, 6 operatives, but I still had 2 cracks spare, and then basically I managed just to kill everyone. So it was a very successful game for me. I managed to go 21-9, but it was a very good game, and I managed to learn a lot from it. Even though I managed to get all the kills, a lot of them were just by accident because I spiked hard, and, you know, like my rerolls from Crossfire helped a lot. But it was very much a learning process, which kind of showed me like, okay, the team has play. Nemesis Claw quite tough because of Vox Scream, but I was able to pull that out as a win. Then into round 2, I was into the dreaded match. There were only 2 Sanctifier players at the entire event, and I was like, as long as I don't run into Sanctifiers, it's okay. Goremongers are manageable, but no Sanctifiers would be fine. So I get paired into Sanctifiers, and we're playing Intel. No, we're playing Coordinates, sorry. So this was a really interesting game as well. Once again, I'd taken the similar loadout, but I dropped the Knife Fighter and take the Medic this time, just because I was like, okay, if he shoots and kills me, I can just shoot back and actually get a better trade. And I have 12 activations to his 11, so this should be quite okay. And the Medic will still work against his torrent weapons as long as the Medic isn't part of the torrent attack as well. So this should be quite good. So once again, I covert guised up. I moved the Melter and Sapper up, just so they're both within Medic range in case he tries and shoots them. Because remember, with the Magus, everyone ignores being injured, everyone ignores APL modifiers, so the Medic just resurrects stuff for free. So after moving up, I'd only put my Commander and Bodyguard on the right hand side. And then my opponent just gave me the Miraculous. He was like, yeah, the Miraculous I'm going to put by the door. And I was like, okay. So then I dashed up one of my familiars, who then repositioned to open the door. And then the Sapper moved within 2, threw a crack, killed it, and left with 1. And then the Mega stunned it, right? Well, actually, sorry, originally he redirected onto the Cherub with a grenade. So I was like, okay, the Cherub's dead. And then I used the Melter to kill it. Well, kill it and then leave it on 1 wound, and then I stunned it. He won initiative, and then he shot my Sapper, but because I was immune to piercing, my Sapper lived on 3 wounds. And now at this point he had his Assassin, Conflag, and Leader on the left-hand side, and I was like, technically the safe thing would be to do is throw the crack, kill the Miraculous to fall, and pull back. But I was like, okay, my Sapper is only 2 APL, but if he repositions and then throws his super grenade, he hits the Leader, and then he also hits the Conflag. And then he can't get down Mr. President, and that would basically win me the game. So I do that, I walk up, and then he rolls a 3, just enough to stop me activating. So then I just sits there, and then I do eventually start losing operatives. ish, because he actually charges into the sapper and just leaves him there. And by this point, I'm like, okay, I've taken gather surveillance. So what I actually do with the melter is, because I'm like, okay, it's now got free APL again, I'll actually switch to conceal. So I reposition up into his territory. Minus, because he's still in combat, I mark him for death and then move back. And then turning point 3, I win initiative and start, like, I also had a familiar on the point to coordinate. And then turning point 3, he moved up more, but this is where it actually got a bit swingy, because on turning point 3 he had his what do you call it, the chainsword lady and his assassin. I managed to kill his assassin with my mace guy, and then my familiar actually managed to kill his chainsaw lady. I just played zigzag on the right hand point. That was never my goal. I was like, you can have the midpoint, but at the end of the game, in that midpoint, I managed to kill with my commander and shotgun his flamer icon and then his 2 preachers. But I basically just managed to slowly piecemeal pick him away. Like at the end of turning point 3, he had lost 6 operatives. I'd lost 1. Most of mine were wounded, but because I ignored being injured, it was just great. And I was getting nice trades with cracks. I was just walking up within 2, using ruthless coordination to get powerful shots. By turning point, end of turning point 2, his leader had died because I just threw everything at the leader. And yeah, I just managed to get enough. No, the leader died turning point 3. But because my opponent was too cagey, because basically I'd set up a web of my icon and medic covering stuff. So all he could, like, while he could lead the procession, he could do it in such a way that I would have a turn to react. And in that turn, anyone who moved up, I can just give -1 APL. And then if they're in the open, the Magos will just kill them. Like, oddly, the Magos didn't kill too many people with his Mind Blast, but he kept giving key operatives he wanted to use -1 APL after they'd activated, so they just became useless. And I managed to win this game. I think it was 18-11. I'd managed to get 2 boops on my home objective. He'd only gotten 1. I'd managed to get 2 boops on his objective. He'd only gotten 1. And I didn't get any boops on the right hand objective, but I managed to max my tack up and yeah, win. It was very tough, but I think my opponent respected me a bit too much, but it was in a situation where he had to, because he knew I had the firepower just to walk out and kill someone. So it was actually not as bad as I thought into Sanctifiers. But I think it would have been different if he didn't feed me his miraculous turning point 1. Then going into turning point 3, I got paired down because there were 13 undefeated players, and I was like, oh, because we're using win percentage, it's fine. You know, being undefeated will be nice if it keeps going well. But I was into Wrecker Crew. So once again, I took the exact same loadout. There was no real reason to change it up. And this time we were playing Transmission. Once again, I had taken Take Ground because there was a central stronghold that I could easily secure, and I'd taken the same equipment as before. Now, my opponent had taken the Pulsar Rocket, and he actually, once again, gave me initiative, and then he went up, and he pulsed me and then popped a smoke. So I managed to hit my Grenadier, Comms, and Bodyguard, doing 2 damage to each. And then I was like, okay. So I managed to shoot him a bit just to get crossfire tokens, and then my leader Mind Blasted him down to 6 wounds, and he was like, oh, I was like, yeah, because I told you it's a valid target, and smoke doesn't do anything. So then he won initiative and immediately ran down from the top of the building, and because I'd started stunning people, his Breacher boy, like the guy with the fists, was basically in a useless position. His leader had 1 APL, so his leader just moved around, and then he'd moved his bomb squigs away. And then effectively, I repositioned up my sapper, who was touching the stronghold, threw his super crack into his leader, hitting 3 guys. Did 4 damage to the leader, wounded another guy down to 3, and then bounced off another guy. And then he eventually died back. But I managed to get enough trades where I eventually killed the leader with the agitator. The agitator repositioned up, threw a crack, and basically got enough crits and hit just to kill. Just because I managed to burn out his Just a Scratch and kill through that. And then also I'd given all his, like, another one of his melee operatives -1 APL. Now, I completely forgot how this worked, and I didn't realize how debilitating it was. But because his melee operatives were 1 APL, he did not take crack grenades because he didn't think they were needed into my kill team. All his melee operatives managed to get stunned via my leader and stun grenades, so all they could do was charge or just reposition. And then he realized, oh, if I charge you, you're just going to reposition back, and your entire team will like fall back, and your kill team's just going to shoot me. And I was like, yes. And that's basically what happened. Now, turning point 4, he did manage to get more kills. He actually managed to kill 6 operatives turning point 4, but in return, I managed to wipe him out. So it was a bit of a give and take there. No, I'd left one guy alive. One of his melee guys had lived on the point. But by that point, I was ignoring his tac op. He'd taken secure center, and he didn't realize you had to be on the center line and not on the objective to score 2 points. So he basically couldn't score it because I was just killing too many of his guys. But it was actually really close. By the end of turning point 2, going into like turning... by the end of turning point 2, I'd only killed one guy on the kill op because the orcs don't count. And then by the end of like mid turning point 3, still only one commander was dead. It just kind of swung going into turning point 4 because so many of them were wounded. I managed just to get key attacks off and burn throughs just to scratch to get enough kills. Like, oddly, the random crack grenades were doing more damage than my specialists, but that's how it works. And oddly, even though the score doesn't reflect it, I think it was like 20 to 10. It was still really close. It only kind of broke down for him turning point 4 just because I'd stunned so many people and the Magus was just like mind blasting people apart. Then in game 4, I was against Nemesis Claw again, but this was, I believe, the best performing Nemesis Claw player, so also on 3 wins. This time we were playing Transmission, and it was on another Squad Games Gallowdark map. So this time I'd only had one covert guy, so I scouted up the Sapper and then put up the Melter. Same loadout as before, and effectively this was really cagey. But turning point 1, he opened the door where his rocket launcher was on the right hand side and moved into the room, which allowed me to stun him and move up a bit more. Turning point 2, I made a mistake by not playing Pervasive and instead just playing the shooting ploy, but it did actually help. Because once again, I was really, as I was always doing, telling my opponents about my threat ranges. So he's been very respectful. But near the end of turning point 2 for his last activation, he repositioned and dashed up to my door with his Screecher and went on guard. And I was like, okay. So then the Agitator moved around to an open door, repositioned and moved around to the open door, so he was within 6. Then the Melter repositioned, dashed and shot with his 3rd APL, and then because he had 2 crossfire tokens and a reroll from the Agitator, the Screecher just exploded, and I was able to steal his right hand objective, because even though he moved onto it and popped it, I made him 2 APL and then ran 2 of my guys on there, so I actually managed to negate that going off and tie on the points there. I didn't manage to score my attack op gather surveillance, but neither did he, which it turned out to be storm objectives. Turning point 3, he moves in to storm that objective and secure it, and I walk up to the rocket launcher, shotgun him and knock him down, like with a crack, get just enough hits to knock him down to 12 damage, 12 wounds, and then, no, 8 wounds, sorry. And then he walks up and kills one of my guys and stays on the point, and he charges another guy. And then I was like, okay. So then my leader walked up, made him 2 APL, shotgun him for 4 damage, and I was like, on a free up now, because your APL is 2, you die. And I shotgunned that guy away, so I secured the right hand flank. I managed to gather surveillance on him before he died, so I managed to get 2 points there. And then also, while he was controlling that room, I managed to eventually kill his Screecher. Not Screecher, sorry. I managed to kill both the Skin Thief and the Icon guy. So he effectively, at the end of that turning point, had his Tox Screamer and his leader left. And then at the end of turning point 4, I managed to kill his Night Screamer because I'd blocked off a door. So I was like, all you can do is just really kill one guy and then open a door, and then my entire kill team will shoot you. So I managed to kill his last guy, leaving his leader alive. So I managed to secure the left room, stopping him score storm objectives. Also gathered the leader because I could just open the door on conceal, walked up and gather surveillance. So that game I managed to go 5 on the kill op, 4 on the tac op, and then I actually managed to go 4 on the crit op, and he managed to go 5 on the, no, 3 on the crit op with the crit op as primary, 3 on the tac op, and then like 2 on the kill op because of my weird kill breakings. But that ended up to be another win. Once again, very close. It only really started breaking down near the end of turning point, like from turning point 3 to 4. That's where it really swung in my favor. So it's really interesting as like how I played this game. So for the tournament overview, there were 4 undefeated players after that, and I was like, okay, but based on my matchups, because it's a win percentage, it's completely out of my control, so I probably came 4th. But then, when they did the award ceremony, I actually came 1st. And then Bart, who was also running Brood Brothers, the only other Brood Brother, came 2nd. So we had 4 arms in the top 2. And then John, with his Hyrotech Circle, came 3rd. Ryan, with his Phobos Strike team, came 4th. And then Serkan, with his Sanctifiers, came 5th. Ali, with his Plague Marines, came 6th. And then Gabriel came 7th with his Nemesis Claw. And Adam, with his Wrecker Crew, who I think that was the guy I played, came 8th. So it was a very, very top 8, actually. The Sanctifiers, like Serkan just lost to Ryan in round 4. So Sanctifiers were doing a good run. There were tons of Nemesis Claw. There were apparently a lot of Goremongers, but I didn't see any of them. They thankfully disappeared. And I was kind of shocked I won. But I did win a nice set of trophies. So I got this trophy for coming 1st, the Gold Trophy from Crossfire Games. And then I also got this mini trophy for most Sanctifiers killed. So, well, beaten. So I was tied at 1, but I went to whoever I believe just came the highest. So that was me. So that was very nice. It was like a thematic trophy for me. But playing Brood Brothers was very interesting. I played quite conservatively, doing the traditional like end of turning point 2, throwing in the Melter or the Sapper to get that kill. But the interesting thing I found you could do with Brood Brothers, because of ruthless coordination, as long as you just get someone else within 2, you don't actually have to threaten your own operatives as much. The Melter Gun is difficult to do it with because you have to be visible and within 6, so at that point you might as well just sack the Melter. But it's really powerful with stuff like the Plasma and Grenade Launcher. But also I found I wasn't really using my strategy ploys that much because they kind of suck. The pervasive ploy was great, the 2-inch climb, but you only really need that turning point 1 and maybe 2. And then the switching from conceal to engage to trigger your crossfire tokens is only really useful actually 1 or 2 turning points. So if you play at turning point 2, then it's really good turning point 4. But if you play at turning point 3, it's not really good turning point 4 unless you haven't engaged that much. And if you don't engage that much, it's not really worth it. I was finding most use out of my firefight ploys because I was taking the bodyguard every game. I was getting Get Down Mr. President for free, and then I was regularly using the free dash and ruthless coordination to get enough shots. It was actually really fun playing the team, but quite stressful. There was a lot of APL management required for Gather Surveillance, but Gather Surveillance is really good with this kill team. Usually I was spending an APL for my comms or a CP from the free dash to secure gather surveillance, but in my opinion, that's worth it. But also security is really strong because you generally have 12 activations. You were able to basically go like, oh, I need to be here, here, and here. I activate you, so I know where I need to be. The Magus is also insane, like just with the buffs it provides, as well as just visibly stunning people. I was tempted to take the Primus, but I would only take the Primus into Horde teams, and unfortunately, I don't think I would ever take the Patriarch at this point. But the Familiars were clutch, very, very powerful that they can do mission actions, just great. But I had a lot of fun. It was very stressful, but I managed to do very well. Now, I think if it went on, like if we did around 5 and 6, I probably would not have won the event, just because I still didn't have enough practice and I was just kind of winging it a lot of the time, learning as I go. And into the Mirror / Phobos and Hyrotech, I'm not sure how this team would actually do, so I need more practice there. But overall, really happy with the result, and it was just very refreshing to play a Horde team again. I still need to test out the Goremonger matchup and the Sanctify matchup. Even though I won the Sanctify matchup, I still don't think it's great for Brood Brothers, and Goremongers is very tough, especially if they are able to overrun you, which they can do quite quickly. So I'll test that out, but I think I'll stick with them and see how it goes. While I enjoy Plague Marines, I find they're more limited by their tac ops and don't have the best mobility and tricks to score them, Whereas with Brood Brothers, despite being a 12 operative team, I think they have a lot of ways to reliably score their attack ops, even though they don't have recon, and they have enough positional power to make your opponent respect you despite you being very fragile, which is really, really good and something I'm finding fun. But that's pretty much it for me today. Once again, I'd highly recommend you going to London events. The London events were really fun. Guy who was running it did a great job, and there was a lot of prize support, and we had a lot of brand new players, and it was just great to see. And Dark Sphere, where I was running in London, was a great thing. But please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video, if you found it useful or helpful. Remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, an affiliate link at Emma Games, an affiliate link at Discord code at Crossfire Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. And I'm just going to quickly shout my patrons. So for my ad, I've said the crew: Tom, the Houston Toad, Super Cow, Sam, Nick, Mercenary Q, Mr. Meatward, Marshall, Lucas, Graham, Fangzu, Draken, Dave Meatswell, Dan, Dada Goldens, Chris, and Amorphium. So thank you so much for all your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. But yeah, 2 videos. Last tournament report for a while, I'm afraid, unless something happens. But yeah, you know, I'm semi-enjoying the meta-ish, just waiting for that balanced data slate, because as I said, the next balanced data slate should be end of July, and the meta is probably going to change quite more. So the fact I'm not getting many tournaments in until end of August is kind of okay. But remember, no matter how many arms you have at a tournament, you always have a chance to win, as long as you can roll a crit.